Welcome to Friday. It's the 27th day of December, 2024. This Day Weather podcast brought to you by Converse County Tourism. Douglas and Glen Rock, Wyoming are bustling with action this holiday season. Plan your excursion, including fun activities, beautiful downtowns, and historic treasures. Learn more at conversecountytourism.com. Well, it'll be over the next several days through Tuesday, maybe in the New Year's Day, but especially today through Tuesday. The key elements of the weather in the western United States will be periods of mountain snow as Pacific energy and moisture crosses the Pacific Northwest coast and pushes through the Rockies. Then we're going to have very strong winds across the high plains. So this is a situation where periods of snow mountains and very strong winds at times around the plains will be really dominating between now and early next week. So if you're venturing over a mountain pass or headed into the mountains, be ready for snow at times. It'll come in waves. There'll be breaks, but it'll be off and on mountain snow with some wind as well. So if you want to go play in the snow in the mountains, do be ready for some rough weather at times from the snow and the wind. On the plains, we will see some of these snow showers move off the mountains onto the plains. They shouldn't amount to a lot. This is mainly a mountain event. However, a bigger push of colder air and Pacific air comes in, and we may be looking at some travel concerns across portions of Montana and northern and central Wyoming into western South Dakota and parts of Nebraska Sunday night into Monday and Tuesday, with a bit of a better chance of snow as a bigger push of colder air is pushed into the region. But it's mainly the high country that's going to see significant snow chances between now and early next week. Some beautiful shots there of not only the sunset, but as you can see there, some geese in the photo, and a lot of mid and high level clouds with that moisture coming in off the Pacific, putting on a lot of colors and a lot of texture and a lot of different layers, as you can see here. And along the Continental Divide near Estes Park, strong winds causing a wave cloud there. And then after a fresh snowfall in the Black Canyon near Gunnison, some great shots of some clouds there. And then here's somebody, I think, saying, I'm in Arizona, and you're not. Nice shot there of some clouds and a sunrise in Mesa. Now, here's a great photo. Speaking of geese, see those white streaks there? These are snow geese, which, as folks know, driving across Nebraska or living in Nebraska, you can just see thousands upon thousands of these in the sky at once. And there you can see a great shot, a wide-angled view of a lot of snow geese making their way across the area. And there's more high clouds there in South Park. The horses saying, hey, I'm not going to deal with the wind. I'm going to get a little bit of shelter. Now, here's a cloud formation you don't see very often. This happened a couple of days ago, where it looks like the clouds have eyebrows. Pretty interesting shot there. With the help of Jan Curtis, we can get a description of what those cloud formations are. Now, there's a mouthful. Not even going to try to pronunciate that. But you can see we can have a dissipating stage of those stratocumulus clouds, wave clouds that can give you that cloud formation like that. Satellite image this morning shows the waves very well. Here's the wave that came through yesterday, all the way now into the plains. Here's the next wave, and here's the strong pipeline of Pacific energy and more waves in the Pacific coming our way. So you can see that there's gaps. There's breaks in between these waves, and this is the pattern where there's breaks in the snow in the mountains. But very moist air is associated with these waves coming off the Pacific. So this next wave is going to come in, and it's going to come out of Washington and Oregon and Idaho and through the Central Rockies this afternoon, tonight, and the Saturday morning, bringing mountain snow and very strong winds on the plains. And there you can see them all lined up with those strong jet stream winds. This is where we are looking at current advisories, watches, and warnings for bad weather. All this gray you see here is for dense fog advisories. A lot of fog from the southern plains all the way up to the Canadian border. The brown shows you the high wind watches and warnings. The pink, winter storm warnings. The purple, winter weather advisories. So you can see a lot of mountain snow and a lot of wind in not only Wyoming and parts of Colorado, but other parts of the western United States And focusing a little bit closer in, you can see the major mountain ranges except the Bighorns under advisories for snow and wind. And then very strong winds along I-25, very strong winds along Interstate 80. And I'm afraid to say it's one of these Wyoming wind festivals. These strong winds, especially the I-25 and I-80 corridor, but also South Pass, you're going to be looking at this for basically today through Monday, hate to say it, where these winds are going to be very strong and gusty. And there's why. You can see the 300 millibars are at about 30,000 feet. We're about ready to see these very strong jet stream winds transit the Rockies, going nearly perpendicular, close to perpendicular to the Continental Divide. And that just makes it a wind machine, but also with all the moisture, a snow machine in the mountains. By noon tomorrow, the wave that's here now is all the way into the plains, but the strong gradient of high winds aloft continue to be overhead, bringing that Pacific moisture to the mountains and wind to the plains. By Sunday at noon, that next system is all the way into the Great Lakes, and here comes the next one on Sunday. Now this one is going to be dragging a little further south and bringing a little bit more in the way of cold and moisture in. And by Monday noon, it's all the way into Nebraska and Kansas. So you can see how quickly they're moving, and they're all coming from the same location, just off the west coast, just off the Pacific there, and moving on through. But there's a bit more in the way of cold air coming in on the backside of the system. And that's going to lead to those travel concerns, especially along Interstate 90 in Montana, Wyoming, and South Dakota. So travelers in that area, late Sunday into Monday, be on the lookout for that. Here are the high winds that we're expecting between now and Monday. So wherever you see the darker, brighter colors, the oranges, the reds, you can see where the winds are going to be the most persistent and the strongest. These strong winds out here on the plains of Colorado and Kansas and Nebraska are really coming with that Monday wave. So this is mainly Monday, but everywhere else, this is going to be today through Sunday into Monday. So the wind-prone areas are going to be, well, wind-prone. This looks a lot like the graphic I showed you yesterday. This is between now and New Year's Day, Wednesday. The funneling of moisture off the Pacific into the major mountain ranges. Lighter amounts make the plains, but you can see east of the divide here in Colorado, you're just going to get downsloped. But that push of colder moist air is going to bring that snow to northern Wyoming, southern Montana, and into this area here late Sunday into Monday. So keep that in mind if that's your time that you're making your return trip home. And let's translate that precipitation to snow, and it's looking like that there. Now, as we get beyond the New Year's Day, the models are in a fair amount of disagreement. There is potentially another wave coming off the Pacific towards next weekend that we'll keep an eye on. In the meantime, have a good weekend. Be ready for the wind and the mountain snow.